to DC. And next year, we'll figure out where it's going to be. 30-something years in the making. I'd like to acknowledge first and foremost the people and the delegation from Uganda who have come here, and they're standing with the embassy once again in standing with UNAA. Thank you very much. When we know that you're here, I just mentioned this to you, it is exemplary in that as a family, as a government family, we also share the aspirations of the diaspora. To the president of UNAA and your team, we want to say a heartfelt thank you for all the initiatives that you've taken. It's not in vain. But most importantly, in our culture we say when you eat well, you are well. So thank you for a wonderful meal. I'd also like to remind you in that as much as you can get a US citizenship in 8 weeks, I think I heard 8 weeks. Please remember that you can get a dual citizenship in Uganda, because home is home. And we want to thank you for your continued presence in Uganda. I just returned on Thursday. I left Sunday afternoon. I left Sunday morning, arrived in Uganda Sunday afternoon, got back by Wednesday. So within 72 hours, I'd been home. That's a testimony to the security and the logistics that government has put in place. I remember having grown up in Arizona, it took me almost 20 years to get back home because of all the logistics and the things that are behind us. But we know that many of you reach out to the embassy, you get your visa online, you get your tickets online, and you're home. So we want to say that while you're home, please consider making those investments at home. I want to acknowledge for those who already have, Mr. Moses Wilson. When we're planning for the business forum, he taught us a thing or two about investing, but not just investing, but setting standards. He's building a fantastic. Moses, are you here? Mr. Wilson, are you here? There you go. He has standards. Even when you're meeting, his meetings have standards. Even when you're planning, he has standards. But we thank you. We also want to acknowledge there's some things that you said where in the beginning, I think the initial stages, there were some uncomfortable moments where the quality wasn't there. But it took you to set your standards. So I also think I'd like to encourage many of you in that when you're in this country, you're now second, third, perhaps fourth generations. And would like to see where are you plugged in your home away from home. We were fortunate enough to have engaged through State Department. We went to the Republican National Convention. We also went to the Democratic National Convention. I was able to meet, we spent we spent a week in Wisconsin, and we spent another week in Chicago. And I'm not privy to getting into the details of your election, your campaigns, but I'd just like to provide some insight in that the key issues there were immigration, there were education, there were economic recovery, I'd like to also be quite frank and say that Uganda, whether it was in Wisconsin or whether it was in Chicago, did not feature. Not only did Uganda not feature, but Africa did not feature. So that tells us something. That challenges, because these are issues that affect you. Immigration, it affects you. Education, it affects you. So the next steps would be to say, as a community, as UNAA, as a diaspora, for yourselves and your children and your community, and your bigger community, the African diaspora, where is it that you can make an impact? And I think that's the challenge. And much to your credit, you're there. You're doing these things. I'm sure some of you have heard of Ham Serunjoji. He was among the 12 people who were selected to be in the initial program of the White House in the administration in terms of the African diaspora. He's in FinTech. We are at a golden moment as Ugandans, literally, golden moment. We just had Joshua bring us the gold medal. We spent this evening with Sula. Sula was ranked number 50. It was through my colleague ambassador of Croatia who said, oh, there's a Ugandan boxer in Maryland, like a year ago. I said, by the way, I went, and that fight he won. We went to Las Vegas, he lost. He went to Las Vegas again, and now he's number 3 in the world. So I encourage, he's extremely humble, but I encourage all of you, for those who can, on September 27th, to please go to support him in New York, at New York's Madison Square Garden. But even fighting there, like a Ugandan fighting at, I mean, that's like top. That's like the Wimbledon of boxing. So many of you are there, you're doing it, you're moving. But are you moving in a direction that's going to move us as a unit, as a people, as a country? In all those areas, be it public health, be it education, and recently, Uganda government has made sure that it is investing in these 4 areas when it comes to economic and commercial development. There's agriculture, there is tourism, there's mining and development, and there's science, technology, and IT. So I'd like to encourage you, I'd like to challenge you. Put us to work. We are here at the embassy. We even got resources. This is, in America they say, put your money where your mouth is. Well, government has given us money. We're among the 12 embassies. And that's another reason why I'd gone to what they'd called an ambassador's conference in Jinja. These 4 areas are areas you can focus on. And you don't have to own land if you want to do farming. You don't have, there's so many other things that people will say, well, how do I even begin? Well, there's land you can lease. There are consultants in agriculture that you can work with. So there are many opportunities. So please, as an embassy, take us to task. I know I don't have my official regular speech, and the assistant, I'm sure, will discuss that later. But I just really want this to be a conversation. I want you to know that you matter to Uganda. And you matter a great deal because you represent the future of Uganda, along with your colleagues and your sisters and your families at home. The other thing I wanted to do is to let you know that we've put together a WhatsApp number, and we're going to put together a WhatsApp channel so that we can hear from you. If you have questions, if you have feedbacks, whatever it is, we can continue to engage. And is that number there? It's a US number, 771-217-6949. And for those who were able to get your documentation done, please let your friends know, let your family know that you can renew your passports, you can do the IDs. We thank the team from NERA. We acknowledge the chairman of NERA who is here. And we want to let you know that information, because you guys, information is like fast food for you, you know? You're instant in information. There are times we say, "Kale tunalaba, we shall wait," you know, those things. But now we're trying to see that you can reach us in real time. The other thing I wanted to encourage you to do is to take advantage of the information that you received from Equity Bank, from NSSF, from all these entities that have come from Uganda. It's a journey that they've made, and they've made this journey so that there's a connection. And I also want to encourage many of you, to challenge you, that you've come here, you've uplifted the public health sector, especially in the area of nursing. Thank you. It takes a great deal of patience and care to care for others. So that says something about us as a people. But now you have another opportunity, medical, through St. George. Up your game. Challenge yourselves. See what that conversation can do. See what the next steps are for you. Always aim the highest that you can, because remember, we're champions. And I'm so proud to represent you. I am so proud to work with a team at the embassy that is very keen in making sure that we are here for you. And in the areas where you feel that we've fallen short, just let us know to pull our socks up, and very fast, so that we're not going, you know, so that we're with you in real time. And where we've fallen short, tugezako. Where we're begana na tugezako. So please just continue nudging us, and we'll get there. I'd also like to take the opportunity once again to share with you how grateful I am that the President appointed me as your ambassador. I don't take it lightly. His Excellency has time and time again told us, what can we do in terms of economic development? How do we continue to prosper? But more importantly, how do we continue to be Ugandans? As much as we each have our culture, and we each have our values, and we each have our traditions, but how do we continue to make sure that we are, as a people, one unit, represented in many areas? So it gave me great joy this summer when I was invited at the Luganda Academy, where the young people were learning Uganda. But it just wasn't the people from Buganda. There were many other Ugandan children there. So this is a sort of insight that we can begin to have. What would it look like if we now had a Ugandan academy and we added some tech in there, where people can actually learn all these different languages through online? You'd be amazed at what some Ugandans are doing with the very basic resources in Uganda. So let's challenge each other. There's some dancing here. I couldn't even begin to move left or right, you know. But that's neither here nor there. But let's also not forget that we've been voted among the happiest people. Some people have all the money in the world, but they cannot find joy and happiness. And I know it's a bit of an irritant when they say, okay, this program starts at 10 a.m. and people walk in at maybe 11. But then also in between, it's a joy to see that people are having genuine conversations amongst friends who haven't seen each other for a while. Not that it's an excuse, but at least you can really see that people have come from all over the US. And it's such a joy to be amongst you. And it's such a great sense of pride to be amongst you. I want to wrap up. I think maybe the timekeeper is about to say it. I want to wrap up. And as I do so, I want to please remind you to support Sula where you can. He's on socials, so give him your support. I want you to be mindful in that many times we ask what government can do for us, or we ask what other people can do for us, but I want you to please be mindful in that when the Joshuas, the gold medalists of this world, when they win that gold, when they're running that extra mile, at times they may feel alone and at times they may be alone. So when you're in this country, far away from home, working 9 to 5, doing all those things, sometimes some of you are doing 3 jobs. One job takes care of you, one job takes care of somebody at home, one job's all sorts of things. Please remember that it is the spirit of being Ugandan. It is the love and joy, the selflessness. And I want to encourage you to extend yourselves to others, but also to extend yourselves to your country. And please know that we love you. You teach us many things in Uganda. You come with those new fashions. Sometimes they're a bit skimpy. You know. Yeah, but you know, you're a bridge. You're a cultural bridge. You've been a financial bridge. Your remittances exceed FDI at times. You're investors. And it's not lost upon us that you are brothers, mothers, sisters across the Atlantic and beyond, and we're one. So please remember, home is home. Thank you so much. If there's someone that I've forgotten to acknowledge, please know that you're all Ugandans, in whatever shape, form, all sorts of interests. Please know that home is home, and the embassy is your home. We have functions, and sometimes we can't connect with you. So if you want to be on our guest list, that WhatsApp, send and say, please put me on the guest list, so that when we have different functions, we can send these e-invites. Because me, I want to leverage digital diplomacy. Sagala tekugenda simanye file popular. No. I want to make sure this is what they want to do. Sports diplomacy. In fact, in sports diplomacy, I'll end with this. Some of you may know Matthias Chiwanuka, a Ugandan, grandson of the late Chiwanuka. He has 2 Super Bowl rings from the Giants. I landed in Uganda on Sunday, he landed on Monday. I left him there. But is Ken Karisa, are you here still? Yes. We went to Uganda Communications Commission with him. And there's some filming things he wants to do, and he's looking for a partner. So, you know, if you don't do it, someone else will. So he's there. And we also wanted to make sure that, because he has a heart for Uganda. So we also want to make sure that he becomes one of our honorary consuls, and he promotes sports diplomacy. And that's an area that State Department has also encourages us to do. Wow, you know, okay, let me admit, I had 2 glasses of champagne. I think it's better than I said. So I want to thank you again. What more can I say than a big thank you? Mulabika bulungi nyo. Very styled up. Maybe there should be a component where we have some sort of fashion show. And for those who brought your children, thank you. Thank you for making sure that your youngsters see what it's like to be in a community. I'm also a mom. Mine, I didn't bring all of them. Sometimes it becomes a bit difficult, but I'm with you. I see you. I see you in terms of parenting. I see you in terms of families. So thank you very much. And I have the great pleasure of introducing the Honorable Ruth. She's a lady of grace, but she's also a lot of fun. She has also really, really put her heart into UNAA. I've only been here 2 years, so you can imagine the things that I've learned from her in terms of working with your team. And I also thank Honorable Justina and Honorable Betty for being gorgeous and dynamic. Every time I see you, you have a smile on your face. So thank you very much by leading, and I said I believe in telling people what you really feel. And I thank you, and I said to you, thank you for leading by example. Thank you for bringing the joy from home and sharing it with us. As we wait for her,